Growing up is a weird process. At every single stage of your life, your perception of the world is constantly evolving. Your opinions and the lens that you view everything through is being continuously altered through natural progression, your surroundings, and a plethora of other factors. You fall into phases of infatuation with certain things that seem like they'll last forever, and then you fall out of them within a blink of an eye. Yet, the biggest adjustment when forging your way through adolescence is coming to terms with reality. When you're a child, you carry a sense of awe and discovery with you everywhere you go. A simple event like a pizza party in elementary school can take up every single one of your thoughts for the entire day. Whenever you find out a new and interesting fact, your immediate reaction is to go and tell everyone that you know about it. I know this is an overused quote, but when you're a kid, life is simple, and that's the beauty of adolescence. Unfortunately, Father Time is undefeated, and as you age through and past that stage, and you gain more and more knowledge of everything going on around you, the magic starts to fade. Whether it's because you start becoming cognizant of the more negative aspects that reality has to offer, or the repetitive nature of everything just starts to water down that initial wonder, we all come to a point where our mind is constantly going in different directions, and it's almost impossible to be engulfed in the simplistic aura of an ice cream cone and a beautiful sunset without a million other things taking precedence. This is a phenomenon that is pretty universally applicable, and the area that it affects that interests me the most is in media, and more specifically film. One of my earliest memories is sitting down to watch one of my first films, which was Balto, an animated movie about the real-life story of a dog who led a team of sled dogs to bring back medicine to save his village from a diphtheria epidemic. While it isn't up there in the pantheon of other classic Disney properties from the 90s, I will always remember how absolutely awestruck I was watching it. The visuals of the tundra, an environment that I had never even experienced before, were stunning. The universe that I was witnessing in front of me allowed my imagination to expand, and the visual of the white wolf was the first truly gorgeous piece of art that I can remember. Well, that and Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube, but that's for another video. It truly was a magical experience that helped shape my love for film from a very young age. The problem is that I lost that innocence. I went back and watched Balto before making this video, and as much as I can appreciate and somewhat recapture the feelings that it gave me as a child, the intrusive thoughts that I have about some of the goofy voice acting or the somewhat inconsistent animation eventually furrow their way into my mind and alter that pure form of enjoyment that I wish I could replicate. My peers often share the same sentiments as me. After years of putting yourself through film school and looking at things in a totally analytical manner, it's almost impossible to not yearn for those days of complete innocence. Alas, it seems to be a feeling that I'll never be able to get a handle on again. Well, almost. The state of film YouTube is honestly incredibly disappointing. While there are fantastic creators that talk about the brilliance of the medium, such as Bakima Movies, Nathan Zed, Ryan Hollinger, Thomas Flight, and the Cinema Cartography, it's blatantly obvious that the easiest way to gain prominence in the sphere is to focus on negativity. I'm not knocking that as a hustle, as I have partaken in the dog pile of certain atrocities. I'm not even saying that I don't enjoy that style of content, as some of my favorite creators in the community have a tendency to focus on the more cynical side of film criticism, such as Taylor J. Williams and Amanda the Jedi. With all that being said, though, it is a bit difficult to deal with the main source of content about my favorite thing in the world being somewhat of a slog of gloom. Yet, somehow, through the aforementioned atmosphere, a shining beacon of light managed to push through and accomplish something that I thought was long gone, and that beacon is Schaffrillas Productions. If you've somehow stumbled across this video with no knowledge of who that is, he's a film reviewer and video essayist hybrid who often focuses on animated films, although his more recent content has expanded to include other mainstream film releases, TV shows, and even video games. I personally discovered Schaff in 2018 through his second most popular video of all time, Why Disney's Twist Villains Don't Work. This was also the first real video essay he ever made, and the catalyst for him switching his content over from YouTube poops to the content he is currently making. And it shows because he just sounds like a Plinkett clone in the video. That being said, seeing an actual analysis taking the medium of animation seriously was a nice thing to see. You know, before it became the only type of analysis on the platform. Anyways, I decided to subscribe because he brought up some really solid talking points, and I am a horrible shill for any creator that has clearly taken some sort of inspiration from Red Letter Media. And although he did upload a handful of videos and 2 or 3 essays over the next couple of months, none of them really grabbed my attention until I saw this title in my subscription box: Why Shrek 2 is a Perfect Sequel. A title such as that will always get a click from me, and when I started watching it, I was kind of in awe. In the span of 2 months, Schaff managed to completely establish his own identity. His cadence moved away from its original Plinkett-esque tone to a much softer one that fits the pitch of his voice perfectly. His editing included all of the goofiness and pun-filled nature of Gen Z creators, while not detracting away from the points being made, which is an impressive feat for anyone in the modern-day YouTube landscape. The pacing of the video was excellently developed, dividing the video into sections that always deliver the information succinctly and never overstay their welcome. The most important thing of all, however, is that he managed to emerge with a completely new way of approaching the video essay that I still have not seen accurately replicated to this day. The very idea of the video essay is formal. Unless it is pursued further than secondary education, people's understanding of essays will very likely stick to how high school curates it, which, as someone who has a minor in writing and about half a major in education, is very poor. That system primarily focuses on the argumentative essay, in which a thesis is stated and the rest of the essay is used to support that thesis, and there are very strict guidelines to going about writing one. In all reality, there are so many ways to approach an essay. There are narrative essays, critical essays, descriptive essays, expository essays, even something as abstract as my favorite genre, nature essays, where you just write about nature in nature. And the best part is you can cross genres however you want. The writing of an essay is such a free-form experience, yet it's been pushed forward by the education system as a very rigid medium of expression that has an overwhelming amount of rules and requirements. So I understand why the video essay genre on YouTube has been perceived and developed in the way that it has. If you look at the website, the most popular and overall successful video essayist that focuses on the art of filmmaking and television is undoubtedly Nerdwriter. For all intents and purposes, his videos are the base level of the essay that the education system likes to push, which would explain why I've observed one of his videos being played in both secondary schools and universities on multiple occasions. He puts forward an idea or theme that he wants to talk about, whether that be in the intro of the video or in the title itself, and he spends the rest of the video discussing it. I won't say that I'm a scholar on the history of the YouTube video essay, but from what I have observed in my time watching them, from about 2013 to present day, that is the way most were presented. Video essays were technical, and based on what I mentioned about the education system, that's completely understandable. That's not to say that they aren't to this day. Some of the creators that I mentioned at the beginning of this video are great at doing exactly that. However, the sentiment that I shared at the beginning of this video still holds true. I miss the innocence of viewing films through the lens of a child, and the closest I've ever come to recapturing that feeling in its entirety is in a second-hand nature through watching Schaff's content. When he discusses content that he loves, he manages to actively break down what makes the subject good, while still holding this level of wonder and genuine admiration in his cadence and his syntax and just about everything in the video. When he discusses content that he dislikes, it rarely ever comes from a place of just wanting to dunk on the film, but instead comes from a place of loving something in direct relation to the film, whether that be the franchise it belongs to or the company that produced the film, and being disappointed that it couldn't fulfill the potential that it had in front of it. He is also one of the first creators to make me feel comfortable with being more personal in my video essays, as he commonly throws in anecdotes in videos, or sometimes makes a whole video about his personal experience with the subject. And it's clear to see that his personal connections to the films that he's talking about aid in that wholesome and childlike lens in which he views and discusses things with. I mean, heck, he made an 80-minute long essay sketch hybrid about why Tamatoa is his favorite character of all time, and it was kind of him just gushing over Tamatoa in a well-structured manner. I'll turn on a Schaff video, just about any Schaff video, and get greeted by something like this.
I think it's a testament to how well it's made and how much love and care was poured into it. Its levels nail the look and feel of the movie scenes they're based on top of just being flat out fun. I'm so happy I get to describe how good this game is again and express how much it means to me.
And suddenly, I'm just an infant watching Balto again. Sure, his videos are always making a point, but the way in which Schaff lets emotion fuel his discussion, and the fact that he's able to phrase said emotions so eloquently, is certainly a sight to behold. He also brings a balance of personal and professionalism to conversations about the art form of animation, which is perfect because animated films, despite the stigma they have surrounding them, require both a level of respect for the medium and a level of connection to the medium in order to properly engage in discourse about them. And most importantly, when I watch a video of his, I hear that level of passion that I recognize from my youth. I know that that feeling lives on in his spirit, and that I can come back and revisit it whenever I want to. I can feel comfort in the fact that someone is out there nurturing that pure and organic mindset for a generation of potential filmmakers and critics alike. And maybe, just maybe, I can recapture that flicker one day myself. Shrek 4 is definitely bad though. Sorry, James, bye!